Who's actually getting the most out of a Selmer Paris B16 Prologue Intermediate BB Clarinet? Is it the high school student who's already comfortable on a student model and is ready to chase a richer tone? Or is it the adult hobbyist who just wants a reliable step-up without breaking the bank? And for the everyday buyer wondering whether the price tag translates into real-world benefit, the answer isn't as simple as yes or no. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. If you've spent any time at a band rehearsal or a community orchestra, you know how quickly a clarinet can feel like a partnership rather than a tool. The moment you swap a plastic student instrument for something with an ebony body, you'll notice the difference in how the instrument projects in a mid-range section, how the response feels under the fingers, and how the tonal color shifts when you blend with a woodwind ensemble. That's exactly the promise Selmer is making with the B16 Prologue. And the first question you should ask yourself is whether those changes matter for the music you actually play. Let's start with the kind of player who will truly benefit. If you've been on a middle school or high school band for a few years, have a solid grip on basic technique, and are starting to hear the limits of a student-grade clarinet thin low notes, a breathy edge on higher registers, and a lack of nuance in dynamic shading, the B16 Prologue feels like a logical next step. The ebony body, for one, adds density that translates to a warmer, more focused tone, especially in the shallow register where many intermediate players struggle to keep the sound full without overblowing. The silver-plated keys give a tactile feel that's smoother than the lacquered keys on many entry-level models, reducing the amount of finger fatigue you might feel during a 2-hour rehearsal. And the focus mouthpiece, paired with the factory-installed barrel, is tuned to give a balanced response across the instrument's range, which can be a lifesaver when you're trying to nail a rapid passage in the upper clarinet register. Now, who should walk away? If you're a total beginner who's just picking up the instrument for the first time, the B16 might feel a bit too demanding. The added weight of the ebony body, while beneficial for tone, can be harder on smaller hands that haven't yet built the necessary muscle memory. Also, the focus mouthpiece, while versatile, is less forgiving than the larger, more open student mouthpieces that help new players produce a sound with less embouchure pressure. In that scenario, you might end up spending more time fighting the instrument than making music, which defeats the purpose of a step-up instrument. Likewise, if you're a professional player who already owns a handcrafted French or German system clarinet, you'll likely find the B16 Prologue's design a step down in terms of customizability and tonal depth. The instrument is built for the serious intermediate market, not the elite concert stage. Let's talk practical strengths that become apparent the moment you open the case. The first thing you'll notice is the weight distribution. Because the body is made from solid ebony, the instrument feels balanced when you hold it in the left hand, which means your left elbow doesn't have to compensate for a heavier barrel or bell. In a real-world rehearsal, that balance translates into steadier intonation when you're playing long phrases, especially in pieces that demand a lot of low-register sustained notes, like Mozart's Clarinet Concerto. The silver-plated keys, besides looking sleek, resist tarnish and corrosion better than many nickel-silver alternatives. For a student who's still learning to care for their instrument, that durability means fewer trips to the repair shop over the course of a school year. The focus mouthpiece and barrel combo also has a specific advantage in ensemble settings. I've heard players describe this sweet spot that appears around the middle register as a sort of built-in blend. You can sit just behind the saxophones without being overpowered, yet still cut through the brass when needed. That's not something you get from a plain student mouthpiece, which often sounds either too thin or too forced when you push the dynamics. In a marching band context, the bell's projection is strong enough that you can be a few rows back and still be heard clearly, which is a practical win for anyone who's ever been told to play louder because the front line can't pick up your sound. On the flip side, there are a couple of hidden trade-offs you'll run into once the instrument is in your hands. The ebony finish, while beautiful, is more susceptible to temperature and humidity changes than a plastic or composite body. If you live in a climate with high humidity or you frequently travel to outdoor gigs, you'll need to be diligent about wiping down the instrument after each use and storing it in a climate-controlled case. Ignoring that can lead to the wood warping slightly over time, which might affect the keywork alignment and cause minor intonation quirks that you'll have to have a technician adjust.